The message appeared at 3:17 a.m. She's asking about you. Wants to meet? I stared at the screen. Heart paused. Not from fear. From calculation. 5 years. 5 years I had been erased. Left bleeding, left hollow. They assumed I would vanish completely. They assumed wrong. I traced the message to a burner number unrecognizable. The words were innocuous. Too innocuous, but my gut knew better. My thumb hovered over reply, but I didn't. Not yet. Outside, the city slept. Lights flickered, indifferent. I listened to my own breathing. Even it sounded foreign, like a stranger had been living inside me. A stranger who had learned patience, observation, cold efficiency. I remembered her laugh, the one that had haunted me for months after. His face smug and untouchable, and the night they left me for dead. I wanted nothing yet, everything. She had married him. My worst enemy, the man who had smiled while I crumpled. The man whose hand she had held as she whispered promises meant for me. At first, I couldn't believe it. My mind searched for errors in perception, denial's final desperate gesture. Maybe it was just rumor. Maybe she had been coerced. Maybe, no. The wedding photo arrived unbidden in my feed months later. Perfect smiles. My blood ran cold as I traced the outlines of her face. The same face that had whispered love in my ears, now shining beside him. I counted the months. Counted the lies. Every day she'd spent with me, feigned affection, plotted betrayal. The realization was slow, surgical. The deceit, not in grand gestures, but in the silence, the tiny omissions, the patterns I had ignored. And then it clicked. There was more. Something hidden beneath the marriage. A presence I hadn't noticed. Subtle, familiar, unyielding. A child. I started quietly. Observations first. Small steps. Phone records. Delivery receipts. The habits of their little life. Exposed like a blueprint. I never confronted, not yet. I watched from the edges. Not for emotion. For proof. One afternoon, I traced her steps to a small park. A girl, no older than 5, laughed as she ran between swings. My daughter, my blood. I hadn't imagined it. Every instinct screamed it, but instinct alone wasn't enough. DNA tests arrived by mail, unsigned, anonymous. I kept them hidden. Photos of her with the man she called Daddy cluttered the house I had tracked from afar. I noted her mannerisms. She had my eyes, my expression. I planned every move, every reveal, calm, detached, every breath measured. If they suspected, they would have fled. But they didn't. That arrogance, my advantage. The test results arrived quietly. I held the envelope as if it were a weapon. One line confirmed everything. She was mine. I waited, calculated timing. The truth would hurt more if they thought it safe. I met them in the living room. No drama, no shouting, just the faint hum of the air conditioner. I placed the DNA report on the table. My hands steady, my eyes empty of sentiment. She froze. His smirk faltered. "You knew," she whispered. I didn't need to. The silence stretched. My daughter played nearby, oblivious. They had used her as armor. I had waited to reclaim her without a single word of pretense. I watched them break themselves against the truth. She, crying silently, realizing her control had been an illusion. He, furious, grasping at dominance that had evaporated the moment I returned. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I didn't strike. I simply observed. "You chose him over me," I said softly. "And over her. You used her as a shield for your betrayal. I hope you understand what that means." Her knees hit the floor. He reached for her, unsure. I bent down to my daughter, who looked up at me with the same curiosity I remembered in myself at that age. I smiled faintly. Warmth was not the point. Ownership, protection, strategy fulfilled. I stood, leaving the report like a knife embedded in the center of their lives. I walked away. They were shattered. I remained whole. I carried her home. No explanation, no speeches. Only steps measured against years of planning, years of silent fury. I reflected on the calm I had cultivated. Pain had its place, but I had chosen clarity. I had chosen control. They would remember me, not as a man broken, but as a shadow that returned. And in her eyes, my daughter's eyes, I saw the final truth. The world had been rearranged, not by chaos, by precision. I was free, not through forgiveness, not through love, but through inevitability. The past was ashes, the future mine.